In the secretive Stalinist state of North Korea, even dead dictators loom larger than life. The rictus grins of Kim Jong-un's grandpa and dad disguise the tyranny of cold command that has preserved their brutal dynasty. More than 7 decades after the founding of the People's Democratic Republic, the light which has bathed those great leaders remains apparently undimmed. There are no signs that the ideological intensity is fading. If thought crimes are committed here, you'd never know. Someone, somewhere, is always watching. Freedom is slavery. Ignorance, a distinct advantage. Expressionless faces betray nothing. North Korea has nuclear missiles, but its people are hungry. It's being strangled by sanctions. The UN says deprivation, corruption, and repression are widespread. But it pays to be stoic. Our week-long tour revealed nothing of that. We were shuttled between bizarre showcase sites. Our 3 government minders, less interested in facilitating than preventing our filming. Mr. Ree, our chief minder, had studied English literature, he told me. Which Shakespeare's did you read?
All of them.
Did you? Wow. Did you ever read any Orwell? George Orwell?
I don't remember.
No? He's interesting. We were presented with a carefully choreographed version of a happy, self-reliant land. We were tourists on a Truman Show set, circa 1984. Clunky homemade automation systems, monitored in unconvincing Star Trek control rooms full of screens with schematics and graphs and numbers galore. Our minders oozed national pride.
Their foreign brands were sent by our great marshal, Kim Jong-un.
Constantly boasting of their nation's astonishing achievements.
Well, let's try one.
Love to try one. You know what they remind me of? They're like those yogurt raisins. We toured Willy Wonka factories, a school where teachers claimed 14-year-olds had 9 years ago cloned rabbits. And everywhere we followed in the footsteps of great leaders past and present. We inspected as they had the quality of biscuits and moisturizers, looking at things and marveling at the patriotism of the handmaids of the revolution. In a teacher training college, a sort of funky digital sandpit, apparently soon to be rolled out nationwide. Next, a dystopian Disneyland digital classroom in a country where most people don't even have electricity.
Hello? What do you know about England?
England is in Europe.
They clearly hadn't heard of Brexit. From the top of the Tower of Juche, named after the state ideology of self-reliance, you see the bigger picture. Down there, that's where the ballistic missiles are paraded past the young dictator. Fear of nuclear apocalypse won him 2 summits with Donald Trump. But they haven't cut a deal, and what the regime brands barbaric, inhumane sanctions continue to bite. At first glance, Pyongyang's a modern-looking city, but that space-age pyramid hotel languishes unfinished 3 decades after construction first began, a monumental waste of money. The pastel apartment blocks are, on closer inspection, crumbling, a metaphor for the economy. But that's not how the party paints it.
The reason we have such success in economic development under such severe sanctions is thanks to self-reliance and self-sufficiency. We could move even faster if we weren't under sanctions, but why should we have to wait until they're lifted?
It's just 130 miles across the peninsula west to east, but the road's so bad it took 5 hours. Every year, city people head to the fields to help farmers plant rice. They are volunteers, we were told, in the spirit of unity and self-reliance. We've been brought here to witness this Juche in action. There are haunting visual echoes of Khmer Rouge Cambodia, but the parallel ends there. Our visit to a collective farm afforded the only unscripted encounter we had in a week, although one of our 3 minders was over my shoulder, translating, watching and listening. Do you have plenty to eat, no problem with food supply in the village?
식량은 모자르지 않습니까? 농장에서.
아닙니다. 일단 대구를 받습니다.
We have enough supplies from government.
Because I heard that in your country people are short of food, there's not enough food. Is this a problem for you?
아닙니다.
Not true. You've got plenty to eat.
Our farm.
Your farm is doing okay. Good, good. And when you work, do you draw strength from the words of the great leader, Marshal Kim Jong-un?
경의하는 원수님 그 전함을 생각할 때는 힘이 생깁니다.
Making great Marshal Kim happy is priority number 1. In nearby Wonsan, Kim Jong-un decreed a stately pleasure dome be built in 1 year flat. A beachside super resort, a palace for him, and a forest of high-rise hotels for Chinese tourists. All built, we're told, with North Korean money, as if to prove the futility of sanctions. We were only allowed to glimpse it from afar. Our last stop was a Pyongyang fun fair, perhaps to show us that in a land where drab lives are dictated to at every level, ordinary people do have fun. No one here wanted to talk, except, reluctantly, our chief minder. Was any of what we'd seen, I asked him, real?
I will leave the answer to the audience. I mean, every people can judge by themselves what they have seen. But one thing for sure I'd like to say, the seeing is believing. We feel so proud of having Marshal Kim Jong-un as the respected supreme leader of DPRK. And we have 100% trust in him, and I'm sure that he will lead our country to the most powerful and great country of the world.
The next morning we flew out of Pyongyang, leaving behind a country we weren't sure we'd actually even been to. Dispatched by our minders, news police from the Ministry of Love.